All right, welcome back to another Stormgate cast. I'm Algorithmore, and today we have a game from oCRaM playing in the Blue Infernal against Grimmy in the red Celestial. Of course, this is not actually Grimmy. Um, just recently, Grimmy and Nina have swapped their account names for the memes. This is actually Nina StarCraft, and she is well known to be a very strong, vanguard on the ladder. But recently, while she's waiting out the dog versus dogs, she's been playing Celestial. Now, she's been practicing using a build that I have seen Grimmy use a lot, which is what we're seeing right now. Now, let's see. There's a Hexen trying to scout out, and oCRaM can see, what's going on here. Now, these two players had played a few times on the ladder before this game. And in these matches, oCRaM has been trying to figure out ways to deal with the really strong Celestial build that that Nina, aka Grimmy, has been using. And one thing that I really enjoyed, I was watching oCRaM's stream when he played this game, is that he does a lot of theory crafting where he tries to just think about ways that he can do different builds, different strategies to try and deal with it. Now at this point it looks like Nina is using her Morph Core and her top bar ability, Evolution something something, to take this camp, and then as you can see she's putting down a Legion Hall. And again, this build I think is becoming a little bit more favored by some Celestial players, especially on a map like this where you can hide your Legion Hall in a place that is easily defended, and these trees keep it defended for at least the early game. And she's bringing out her first Seraphim. Well, we do see oCRaM creeping with his Fiends, and I think this is one of the things that he had sort of figured out with his build, is that even if she's going Seraphim here, he can get these Fiends out on the map quickly and do some creeping, and he has a little bit of time to do that. Now, we've got the first Seraphim coming in, and it looks like he's built a preemptive Shroud Stone in his map. Again, you can see this is kind of being a intentional counter to her build, but I also want to stress that the way that oCRaM was playing was he was not blind countering her build. You saw him take his Hexen into her base to scout her out and make sure she was doing this build, and he did that every time that he played her. He never once tried to blind counter the Seraphim, even though I think trying to blind counter the Seraphim give the Infernals an actual a better chance. oCRaM was not interested in doing that because he didn't want to give up on creeping and map control. And with the double vault opening, which is very common for Infernals, you could get, usually it's brutes on the map, but here he's got his fiends on his map, able to clear camps, keep that income going. And he wanted to figure out a way to do that while still being able to defend against these Seraphim. Now we have 4 Seraphim in the base, and we see, this is often where this goes sour for the Infernal player. But oCRAM's already ready with 4 Gaunts in the base. And so he's able to chase the Seraphim away, who are still able to do a little damage to him by taking out this, let's call it a scout farm, but this farm was holding this camp for him. And now, of course, Nina's able to capture that camp. And we're starting to see, well, he's still got his fiends over here, which is great. We're starting to see that those camps that he had initially taken, Nina is able to take, and she's still able to get some economic harass in here. And but these Gaunts come to try and chase them away one more time. Now up here, what we notice is there was a fiend there that was scouting this expansion, waiting for the timing, and able to put pressure on that while chasing away the Seraphim still, and with the Shroud Stone there, able to get the cancel. No, wait, the array lifted up. Yes, the array is lifted off. Okay, and now we see these Seraphim coming back to try and chase those fiends away. So those initial fiends that oCRaM created, not only were they good for the creeping, he actually has done a good job of making them useful after the initial creeping by doing some damage here and delaying the mining here. Of course, those celestial buildings, they're blessed by whatever celestial power they heal up. So this building is gonna get back to full eventually if it is left long enough. Of course, oCRaM knows that, and he doesn't want to let that down. He wants to take it out. Look at how aggressive he's being. And because he's got a small group of Gaunts here, he thinks he can be kind of aggressive on these Seraphim, which I think is right. At least Nina thinks so too, and she's moving her Seraphim away. Of course, getting back that speed boost again, and now we have the Infernal Army in here, trying to get that array.
Too close.
Although the array still remains for another day, recapturing the speed camp. And I like this play that's just a little, yeah, I think he's just gonna get that speed boost. Oh, taking it, that's a nice sort of free kill. Whenever you can get a free kill on a rallied unit, it's great. And when it's something like a Seraphim, that's a little more expensive. That's great. Now these Seraphim are just trying to defend here, try and keep this base safe. Which is actually, this is really, there's another Seraphim here. This is actually really good for oCRaM, who's able to keep Nina off her expansion, which one of Nina's biggest strengths in her Celestial play that I've noticed is her ability to really snowball that, and he gets the kill now. The prisms get away, but yeah, her ability to expand and then snowball that expand into another, into another, into another, and wow, this fiend's coming and scouted this as well. And I like again how oCRAM's just camped on this speed camp here. Now we're starting to get a pretty big number here. Oh, another Seraphim went down. Did I see that right? I think one died to these. Now these Shadow Mastiffs are pretty brutal against air. I think it might be a bug at the moment. They do extra damage. We see these Gaunts coming in and getting these prisms. Oh, runaway prisms. And one of them gets the infest. And ooh, are they gonna go down? 18, 20. Oh, probes. Or prisms, I guess. Where are you gonna go? Oh! Went down. Okay. Seraphim chasing the fiends away again. And looks like Enos decided I'm gonna go for this base, which is often the first natural that you take, but I think she spent enough time fighting over that north base that she's ready to take a little bit more defensive position. And we see this. We see a Morph Core, a Prism, and an array heading down to the south. Just trying to reposition that array. Maybe heal it up on the long flight. How are we doing? At half health. But we have the army, the Gaunts, and the Fiends. Okay, and we got to attack into the natural. And we see those Fiends. Those Fiends unfortunately getting taken care of by a Blast Node that looks like to be on the high ground. And we had those Seraphim come back to push it back. Another Morph Core out. This is what I'm talking about with Nina's macro. I think her arc ship just only builds Morph Cores. It just Morph Core, Morph Core, Morph Core, and each one that pops out is like another potential base. See some of those link nodes going down. Again, some of the blast nodes from the high ground doing some work, and blast node in the back also doing some work. Oh, those Seraphim just, oh, those poor Gaunts are trying to kill that Blast Node, and they do. And the Seraphim, well, the Seraphim are still on top. The Gaunts so far have been content to do damage to this infrastructure, and unfortunately that was a pretty big loss for the army, but we see a lot of damage done to the infrastructure here. That collection array is having to resettle itself back down on that mine. And this collection array is just hanging out in, the high ground there. Hopefully not seen, although that Skull of Shed could have spotted it. And now we have some invisible Seraphim. In very nice with the Dark Prophecy, able to snipe some of those Gaunts off. And I think we see oCRaM now saying, okay, I want to retreat from this pressure I was doing. Again, it's very strong pressure, keeping Nina on effectively one base for as long as we've been playing so far. It's impressive, considering that oCRaM is now up on 3 fully saturated bases, with the 4th one on the way. Nina now getting this one back up. Okay, like I said, her macro is pretty good. She's going to be able to. This array's a scout array, I guess, scout in the high ground up there. I think eventually wants to move away, and yeah, so 3 bases, fully prism loaded up here, so that's a full base. Fully prism loaded down here, so that's 2 full bases. And okay, a push into the blast nodes in the middle. We've got a lone Animancer with the Seraphim here, but those 2 blast nodes are incredibly good. I think they're probably good against all matchups, but against Infernal, which have considerably squishy units, they do very well. Fiends and Gaunt definitely have trouble with blast nodes. Okay, so we see oCRaM creeping his health camp. Meanwhile, we see an invisible army from Nina, and she's again taking another base. So while she's been on one base for most of the game, looks like she's trying to get up to 4 bases as soon as possible. And yeah, so we've got this half base up here. And this is going to be a half base plus another half base. Will be a full base while she's taking a resource camp. And we see this resource camp also being taken up here. So a minor lull in the battles between these 2 opponents while they re-creep up a little bit and maybe establish their new expos. And we now see creeping here. Oh, and we saw another Seraphim go down, I think. The problem with these Shadow Mastiffs, as I already mentioned, is they do extra damage against the air. They prioritize the air, and something about that arrangement is considered bugged by Frost Giants, so they're probably going to fix that up. And now this is a very interesting shrine. It's going down right underneath Nina's nose, and she decides, nah, I'm not going to let that happen. And unfortunately, I think that might be, yeah, a signal to her. There might be a base over here. And well, we've got a small parade of imps that are gonna lead her back now. Oh, we've got some Hellborns now trying to put pressure. Ooh, and that invisible army just comes right on top of them. I've never actually seen something like that happen in a game of mine. I think that's really impressive. Of course, those Hellborn are exactly the kind of units that oCRAM's trying to use to break through some of these blast nodes in more fortified positions, and losing a couple of them there was definitely a setback. Alright, we've got some scythes on the map now, which is sort of a nice late game transition for Nina. She switched from her Seraphim to scythes, and okay, her invisible army, a couple of those fiends trying to do damage in the back. And that's a lot of Animancers there. And we see, oh, a ton of brutes just coming out. Oh no, we got some Dark Prophecies going down. trying to split away, but 5 Dark Prophecies going down. This is what I'm talking about. A lot of anima. 6 Dark Prophecies, 7 Dark Prophecies. These Animancers must have been fully loaded. Oh my god. 8, 9. Those poor Magmadons managed to get through, trying to get the stomps on. Those stomps are a very good way to stop the Dark Prophecy. If you can get a stomp on it, it stops the channeling from the spellcaster. But there was just too many Dark Prophecies in the way before those Magmadons were able to get through. Nonetheless, we see that a lot of the Animancers have been taken down. And, in fact, the last one here now getting surrounded by Fiends. And that was, you know, they got all their energy out to do that serious damage to that army. And then they basically got sacked. Now, the size of the Seraphim and a couple Argent are still around. And this army here is unfortunately not good against any of that except those Argents. And that's because none of this stuff can shoot up into the sky. And we have an air army exclusively now from Nina. She's now going to take out this ore mining base from oCRaM while also putting up another base of her own. And again, a quick inventory of Nina's bases. While she was kept on only a couple or a single base or maybe 2 bases at the beginning there, she has now multiplied her base count to be, looks like about 5. And we've got oCRaM now with a pretty impressive remax with his army. Those Gaunts finally being able to push that air ball back from Nina. And he's going to go back. It looks like he's going right into the natural here to do some pressure. Taking out some of these link nodes. Taking out those ore mining prisms. Taking out some of these ore collection. Notice how many ore collections she's got there. I think that's a really interesting choice. Something I haven't seen from other Celestials. And I think that's because they come with free prisms. And when you're trying to make more cores, it's just a fast way to get an extra prism out. And here we've got a nice attack in. Now there's a lot of strike nodes here. Strike nodes also very useful. Not quite as good against the Infernal as the blast nodes, but they are cheaper. They fire faster. So we see this base looks like it's going to go down. This air army again with a few Argents trying to come and push in, but it looks like oCRAM's content to just do the economic damage here. 1 Dark Prophecy going down, this time not quite as damaging. So Nina's base count impacted and decreased once again by oCRAM's harass. And is he going to notice this one up here? No, it looks like he doesn't notice. He was able to take that one out, which he probably could have with that army. That might have really helped sway the match back in his favor. But nonetheless, we see oCRAM coming out here with a really nice remax army here. A lot of it is Brutes and Gaunts, but that's really good against what he's been facing. And we've got some Shadow Flyers in there. Now I think unfortunately some of those Shadow Flyers impacted on the Arc Station, and that's not going to be what he wanted. And we got another Animancer coming down on these Brutes with the Dark Prophecy, and those Brutes wisely turning away, not wanting to stand underneath that damaging spell. Okay. Again, managing to keep hold of a pretty nice army. Capturing the speed camp, just trying to get that boost. Meanwhile, oh wow, we got a lot of Argents coming back now from Nina, as well as a couple more Animancers. So this army, which for a while had just been kind of this air ball trying to help keep the Infernal at bay, we now have some ground army. Now, of course, this Infernal army is actually really strong against the ground, especially with those mags, and I like this positioning and split, getting those mags out front. Get on top and maybe out from underneath the Dark Prophecies as quick as possible. We've got some Fiends now trying to get out on the map. Notice over here, this is sort of an interesting battle over this part of the map for who's going to be able to mine that ore. And these Scythes are immediately coming over here, although they're running into these Shroud Stones here, and of course size are actually pretty good in this number, at least, against static D. So once the Gaunts come in here, I think they are not really interested in sticking around. And now we have a fight here in the middle of the map. Okay. We do have some Shadow Flyers. We got a Dark Prophecy, but that's what I'm talking about. That stun takes it down right away. We've got another stun taking down that Dark Prophecy. So unlike that last battle where there were a lot of really good Dark Prophecies, there's a Dark Prophecy, there's a Dark Prophecy. Okay, those are being cast. The stuns must be on cooldown. Those Dark Prophecies managing to get some casualties. Nonetheless, still a lot of damage coming out from this army. These Scythes managing to stay alive with that good micro, getting on top of these Gaunts, killing out the Hellborns, which were doing so much damage to the buildings here. And this army's been pushed back. Nina's managed to do that. Those blast nodes, 3 blast and 4 blast nodes in the back, just doing so much work. That's what those Hellborns were there for, trying to do damage to those blast nodes. Now, of course, you need to have that army in front of the Hellborns if they're really going to do that damage. And that's why we see him backing up, is that army got deleted. And now we're seeing Nina again putting pressure on oCRAM's shrine here. But oCRAM's able to push right back. And again, impressed by oCRAM's ability to keep remaxing, and now we're up onto the high ground to take out this extra base from Nina. We see these units. We see some of the mags standing back to try and... Oh, well, I think it was wise, but now these Scythes get on top of them. And oh yeah, this mag's unfortunately going to go down. These Scythes are uncontested, although here come the Gaunts to try and push them back. Alright, again, constant action here. Back and forth as both of these players keep rallying right into their army to keep this skirmish going. You know, just keep on doing it. And we got more Gaunts. We've got long distance mining here. That's what we have. I think this is the 3rd time that this shrine is going down. Now, I didn't notice this up here, but remember there was mining out here, but we do have Shroud Stones up here that must have chased away those units. For Nina, she had her mining units up here, although she does still have these units. What are these? The prisms and the arc station that were chased away are still idling up there. And we've got this base has basically been retaken, and Nina is creeping the vision camp, and we've got this army positioned for defense on this ore camp. We have a dragon out now, and again, a little meeting around this ore camp. This is where a lot of the battles have been here, around this Therium camp and around these Therium nodes down here. Now we've got the dragon putting a little bit of siege down from the high ground. Those Scythes coming in to say, hey, it's our job to kill dragons. And of course the Gaunts are there to put some protection on. So good micro of the armies from both players here. But that dragon coming a little bit too forward. Yeah. And we've got one Hellborn now. A couple mags on the high ground, which I think we're probably there for... Oh, and that Hellborn. Yeah, Hellborn going down. Ooh, not good. Okay. That Dark Prophecy is a great zoning tool. When you put them on top of the... Put them on the ramp like that. That's... so I think... Oh, yeah, so Nina sees that she's kind of got oCRAM's army trapped up there, and she casts those... Luckily, some stuns go down to stop the Dark Prophecies, although the damage has been done. Most of those Gaunts have been taken out, although so have a couple of those sides as well have been taken out. Only 5 left, it looks like. However, we have a fairly large ball of Argents plus Animancers building for Nina. She's managed to get those look like strike nodes to me. It's kind of hard to tell apart, but I think the blast nodes have these hexagons around them like that. So those look like strike nodes to me. Yeah, now we can see them activating as strike nodes. Back to creeping a little bit, just again trying to keep these camps. Get that little bit of advantage before, getting right back at it, because these Shroud Stones again going up, but Alright, that dragon. We got some Hellborn. I really like this composition from, well, both of them. But oCRaM, I think, has really been working hard to try and get a good composition that he can use to deal with what Nina's been throwing at him, which, again, is a really brutal composition for against Infestors, or against Infestors, against Infernals. And unfortunately, that Sim City there's just too good to force those brutes into that choke. And those Dark Prophecies are just doing the damage. Now we see 3 Hellborn coming forward, pushing into these buildings. This is actually really good because there's those Shroud Stones and that dragon protecting them from behind. If Nina wants to push into this, she's going to go right into that defensive structure. Okay. A little premature on that Dragon's Breath. Just trying to zone them back. And those Hellborn, oh, I like this play. Here we go. Okay, snipes the Shroud Stone. Okay, both players just not wanting to get a bad engage here. This could end the game either way if one of these players gets the wrong engage. And we see that Molten Touch. The fire that does the damage over time. It really helps to see how much of an area of effect damage that those Hellborn do. And now we see a push coming out with that first Magmadon trying to, oh, and we got some of the spells cancel, some of the Dark Prophecies cancel, and we got some speed Magmadons coming in. Oh, right on top of the Argents. Oh, some good damage, but these Sais are back and they're on top of the Hellborn. He wants to preserve those costly units that cost so much Therium, and he's basically guarding this Therium mine. That's the mine that's funding this army. So if he loses some ground here, he might not be able to reproduce this army as he's been doing all game long. Likewise by Nina. In the background, she's got that Argent Ball seems to just getting bigger and bigger, despite taking so many of those brutal hits from the Molten Touch Hellborn. Getting some of those stompy Magmadons right up in their ranks, but again, just both of these players, their macros are just so on point. We see, look at this, mind out, mind out, mind out, mining out, right? The mind out. I didn't notice this already, actually, but this is actually pretty bad news for oCRaM. Is all of these bases of his are mined out. No wonder this fight over this ore is so crucial. And we are seeing a Dark Prophecy, and unfortunately it's looking like now oCRAM he's got some money in the bank. I think he's worried to spend it all when he's got really only one mining base. And he does spend it on something. What does he spend it on? Got a dragon. Was that another dragon? Did he lose his last dragon? I think he did. So that might be a new dragon. Plus a couple more Hellborn. I think this is going to be a really hard hold here. Scout Fiend. Oh, we got a dragon over here. And that dragon, unfortunately, is going to get sniped. And pretty sure that's the end of the game there. Yeah, it looks like the units are not moving. I didn't get the announcement on the screen there. Anyways, I hope you really enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed this game and casting this game. Thanks a lot for watching, and stay tuned for some more Stormgate content.